Journey into Comics.
Poor entertainment, poor news.
Foodies watching movies.
Adulting 80s.
Podcast Read. The Voice of Survival.
Kids for Sale. Gallif Radio.
Brews with Dudes.
Journey into Wrestling. Journey into Comics Network. JourneyIntoComics.com.
The following
Is a Journey into Comics.
Journey into
It's a
Comics.
journey into
Is a
comic
Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics.
Journey into Comics.
Network.
production.
production.
What's up? This is Tyler from Podcastrophe, and you're listening to the best of the week. Highlights from all the shows that aired on the network this past week. Kick back, relax, don't tread on my heritage, and enjoy.
And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Journey into Comics.
Listen, let's talk about this officially. Now that I've officially got the overall look, I had to remember I forgot to do this before the show. Like every other article I want to talk about is ready to go, and I've thought about what I was going to say, but this one, for some reason, I didn't do it. So Batman Damned came out, and Batman Damned is getting a lot of press because Damned is about the Joker unexpectedly dying, with Batman suddenly suffering from memory loss and worrying that he might have been the one that killed him. In the book, in the first issue, Batman takes off his costume and has the Bat computer scan him for any injuries he might have sustained in a Joker fight he no longer remembers. The sequence features a clear shot of Batman's butt and then a shadowy image of the front where you can clearly see the outline of his dick. So I looked, and yeah, it's an outline, and it was, okay, so the first panel of the 3 panels is like a back shot of Bruce Wayne. It's his butt cheeks, and he's letting the computer scan him, and he says, any evidence of multiple fatal stab wounds, and you see the tip, and maybe some balls maybe in there, maybe bat balls. Maybe Bat Balls is the episode title, Bat Balls, okay. And then the third panel is even more shadowy, and it definitely shows the tip. And it kind of, I'm not really sure why they needed to really illustrate that. I think there were more clever ways to do that, and it's kind of a cheap shot because at no point do you see Batman's face in all this. He's talking, but you're not seeing his face. It's just focused on his private areas. I'm kind of. Does it need to be in Batman? Probably not. Is it in Batman? Well, yeah, now it is, of course. You can't take it back, man. But, I don't, especially with the other dick news this week. It's why is this week been filled with dicks on all kinds of levels? It's the fucking greatest synonym or greatest description for this past week. It's been all of the dicks. All kinds of dicks on all kinds of levels of dicks. Even good dicks. Like Dick Tyner. And shout out to him real quick in the middle of this tangent. Shout out to him, AP, and Tyler, and those guys in my little Elite Four squad that helped me to decipher and think about ideas and move the network forward and whatnot. Today, I didn't know if I really could do this podcast, but if I don't do it today, it doesn't get done until after Monday, and I don't really feel interested in letting y'all down, so I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to... I'm going to be soldiering on and doing this podcast regardless of how I feel right now. And it's thanks to those guys. They gave me inspiration and lifted me up and said, hey, man, you got this. It's fucking cool. Go out there and show them who's boss. And that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to show y'all who's boss, which is me, apparently. But let's get done with Batman's nuts. Let's talk about the other dick in the news, which was, oh, shit, of course, some stupid fucking shit would pop up on the computer. I'll have to shut that down. Anyways. So let's talk about the other dick in the news. Stormy Daniels comparing Donald Trump's penis to toadstool? What? Really? That's what you think? Stormy Daniels, you really had to say that? Come on. I guess my issue with Stormy Daniels saying that Donald Trump's dick looks like Toad from Mario is kind of, it's just he's fucking ruining everything, and I don't want him to ruin Mario. As a nerd, I'm sitting there scrolling the other day, and I see Mario Kart and Toad are trending. And I'm like, why the fuck? why are they trending? I'm not sure. So I look, and then it says, like, Toad has been compared to something, and then I can't really quite find the article, and then I find the article, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I wish I didn't fucking find this article. So, yeah, I pretty much was grossed out by that one. We're going to go ahead and move into the biggest news that we have, which is officially Marvel this week has released, to get our mind off dicks, this week Captain Marvel's trailer was released on Good Morning America, well, this past week. And as it's already started, I meant to back it up and let's blow this thing up huge. And I'm going to go ahead and actually watch this again and tell you guys what I think about it. A little bit more in real time. My initial reaction right out the gate was I loved this trailer. It really has me excited for the movie, but there's a lot of subtext. And I want to make sure we kind of like dive into the subtext of what exactly is going on here, because it's quite incredible. All right, so here we go. This is going to be the trailer for Captain Marvel. Okay, she looks like she's falling to Earth. She falls into a building. It's a blockbuster video, so boom, we're in the 90s. We are there. Looks like a nice blockbuster. Prices were good. Now it's in the blockbuster, and she's laying on the floor.
It's a universal language.
I like that there's an action sign behind her. Like, the movie's going to be in the action section. That's what you should expect from this movie, is action.
One might come from above.
And obviously hearing Nick Fury, we've got a new logo for the Marvel Studios. The hallway lighting up, which is like early S.H.I.E.L.D. Project Phoenix. Captain Marvel jumping up onto a bus or train and fucking shooting her powers out of her arms or her hands.
So you're not from around here.
They're driving in a car together. She's getting flashbacks, maybe. I will say I love the visuals on it. It looks fucking great. Brie Larson looks like she's killing it. There's Photon with her. She's touching the plane, so she's kind of getting flashbacks of her past. But she doesn't remember her human life.
I can't tell if it's real.
Because she's now part Kree as well. So it's something, you know, her DNA is changing, and it changed her. There was Jude Law as Mar-Vell. I love that. Her, and then it's a hero. There was a scroll. I love it. Captain Marvel punches an old lady. Ronan looking at Earth. Young Coulson. There's the beeper. Captain Marvel in her fucking awesome helmet. Her absorbing the power. Wonder. Ooh, that's actually an interesting thought.
I'm not what you think I am.
Okay. Man. Oh, she's like powering up almost Super Saiyan-esque. That was bitchin'. March 2019, Captain Marvel. This film is not yet rated. No shit, that film is not yet rated, but it's rated awesome in my mind. Holy shit. I love this trailer. If we were to watch it like 6 more times, there are so many little things. I mean, having Photon and having all the stuff that they do in this, there are so many cool videos. And that's the thing. I think with podcasting, I'm slowly learning that I can tell you guys Easter eggs till I'm blue in the face. Like, hey, this fucking cool thing happened. Hey, this fucking cool thing happened. The best way to experience them, though, is to go on to, like you can hear it from me, and I'll still tell you guys if you want. I don't mind. But I personally prefer to visually see what the Easter egg is so I know what they're talking about. And I kind of sometimes do a really shit job of, you know, explaining everything. So my thing is this. Oh, maybe Mar-Vell is actually a Skrull. That's what it is. Mar-Vell is a Skrull. That's why he's looking all fucking crazy-eyed in this. My thing is this. Go onto YouTube and look for a video that breaks down the Easter eggs in your trailers and stuff so you can actually visually see it. That way when you're in the movie, you can spot it out to your friends and be like, oh, check that shit out. That's fucking cool. And I know that and you didn't. Ha, ha, ha. But that's not really why we do it. It's cool because it's good knowledge and it's awesome to share that knowledge with other people. That's why I do this podcast. Sharing my knowledge and my nerddom and filling your brains with the shit that's in my brains. Captain Marvel gets a new logo, and obviously we see it at the end of the trailer there. It's a more streamlined logo. It's kind of got some like not really electricity, but like energy coming off it in certain spots. These like blue orbs, and It's very nice looking. I'm very excited for this movie to come out in March. I know that it's going to be one of those movies that knocks it out of the park. I also feel like it's going to have a lot of setup for the second half of Infinity War, whatever Avengers 4 ends up being called, because there's still too many questions I think they're going to leave unanswered if they don't fill in the gap of like, well, why did Nick Fury have her beeper? Why didn't he contact her earlier in this whole fucking thing? Like, all the whys to why, Nick Fury, why? You knew this lady, but you didn't bring her to the fight when Ultron was around, or you didn't bring her to the fucking fight when Loki showed up. You know, that's a big-ass gap. And then, like, it'd be cool to see her in the end of her movie somewhere in the present, right? Stepping through the threshold and going back on Earth for the first time after however long, because now she's finding Nick Fury's pager on the ground, and she's like, what the fuck happened here? And that's her on her part of the journey through Avengers 4, and then she'll eventually link up with the team, or maybe she'll link up with the team right away. Who knows? Whatever it ends up being is going to be fantastic, though, and I cannot wait to see what Captain Marvel is as a whole. Interesting to also note, the release is March 19, and I believe Wonder Woman was March of 17, or February. Was it March, February? I feel like it was March, though. I feel like it was March of 17. So that being said, Captain Marvel is almost gunning to break the Wonder Woman debut record, like opening night and all that shit. And of course, it's Marvel. They knock shit out of the park. People did not get more answers than they got questions at the end of Ant-Man. This is the movie taking place almost 2 months prior to the next big installation of the series. So I feel like they're going to have a lot of energy between them that's going to give people the push to go see Captain Marvel in theaters, get it in the IMAX experience, the biggest, best way to watch a movie like this. Just the scale of it makes you want to, you know? I mean, how awesome would it be to be in IMAX when Ronan's on the helm of that ship looking down at Earth? And then to think, like, Ronan fucked with Earth at one point, but then later in his time fucked with Xandar, and he doesn't even realize that the guy that fucked him up is from Earth. You know, like, that's wicked. And it's also crazy to note that this movie takes place in the 90s, meaning that Peter Quill has only been gone from Earth for a couple years. And I'm curious to note if there's any... See, that's one thing I've never understood, is if there were any missing posters for Quill in the world, because he had family, his uncle and stuff that he ran from. Did those people go searching for Peter Quill and find nothing because he was fucking in space with Yondu? More questions than answers. I can't wait for Captain Marvel, guys. You guys should be jazzed as well. They've actually got the official Captain Marvel poster out now, and it's bitchin'. Higher, further, faster. It looks like a hangar door. It is definitely a hangar door for, like, what do you call that? Well, a hangar, obviously, for planes. And in part of it, you see the design of the Captain Marvel logo, and it's split in half, and she's coming through the door, and her fists are lighting up, and she looks totally badass and ready to fuck people up. Larson was talking to EW in a recent interview, and she said she never saw herself doing anything like this, mostly because she likes being anonymous. I like disappearing into characters, and I've always felt if I was out in the public eye too much, it potentially limits you in the future. Just seeing a character who says how she feels and says what's on her mind and doesn't let people stand in her way is incredibly empowering. She said, I was an introvert with asthma before this movie. I really thought that they hired me. I was like the worst choice for an action movie. And I didn't know that I had a little Keanu Reeves in me. Who knew? But I've been joking that I'm going to go to the 2020 Olympics for judo. What's funny is I've been saying it the last couple of weeks, and people are like, but they can't tell if I'm serious or not. And honestly, I can't tell if I'm serious or not. I'm really not. But now when I'm getting scripts of what to do next, I'm like, this has to be better than the Olympics. My bar is the Olympics. It's a pretty high bar. Damn, that'd be crazy if she went to the Olympics. Here's the official synopsis, though, for Captain Marvel. Set in the 1990s, Marvel Studios' Captain Marvel is an all-new adventure from a previously unseen period in the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that follows the journey of Carol Danvers as she becomes one of the Earth's most powerful heroes. While a galactic war between two alien races reaches Earth, Danvers finds herself in a small charade of allies at the center of the maelstrom. The film stars Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn, Djimon Hounsou, Lee Pace, Lashana Lynch, Gemma Chan, Rune Temte, Angenis Perez Soto, McKenna Grace, and Annette Bening with Clark Gregg and Jude Law. It's going to be produced by Kevin Feige, obviously, directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, Louis Desposito, Victoria Alonso, Jonathan Swartz, Patricia Witcher, and Stanley are the executive producers. Fucking stoked, folks. You guys should be stoked, too. I can't hype Captain Marvel enough. It's like one of those things. The more I read about it, the more I see about it, it's like, I'm fucking freaking out.
You're listening to Poor Entertainment with your host. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Andrew Poor.
What entertains you, and are you not entertained? Because really, if you're not entertained, why are you doing it? So, what I kind of want to talk about this week, kind of jumping into a few articles I have to discuss, but there's kind of something I want to talk about that I've kind of been mulling around since I've been deciding about this week's episode. And that, why do something, or watch something, or go to something if you're not going to be entertained by it? Like, the people who yell at the TV screen at a football game or at any other sport game, like, if you're not enjoying yourself. But some people like to be frustrated. They like the ability to get so engrossed in it. They're like, yes, that's awesome. Or people who go to a movie, know they're going to hate it, and then complain about it. Like, why go to something you're just going to ridicule later? Like, what do you hope to gain from that? Like, why do you enjoy tormenting yourself if you know you're not going to like it? Like, there's some things we do just because other people we care about or want to like it. Like, some people go see movies or go to places they don't particularly like to be at just because there's another or their friends or whatever doing the same thing. But I feel like a lot of people need to do things just to be entertained by it. Like, a lot of the stuff we like, going to movies, going to plays, going to concerts, we all do that just to be entertained by it. But if you're not going to like it, like, why do it? A lot of this is just for escapism. We get away from our day-to-day lives, do things that we would like to do. But to be in the place where we have to do something we don't enjoy, like, that's what work is for. That's what some other stuff is for. That's what the doing chores, all that dull stuff that we have to do on a day-to-day basis just to maintain order in our lives. But if you're not entertained, just don't do it. Like, people are like, oh, I heard this movie is terrible. Yeah, if you still want to go see it. Like, I saw Predator over this weekend, even after I heard on Podcastry that the movie wasn't great. Like, I still really enjoyed the movie. I don't have a whole lot of context. I haven't been super into the whole Predator series. Like, I haven't seen the newer movies. I haven't seen Predator 2 or Predators, so I don't really have the context. But it's still an enjoyable film. There's some parts that are kind of laughably weird, but it wasn't bad by any means. It was definitely overly produced. I really enjoyed the Predator dogs, especially the one that had the brain injury, so it became like everyone's favorite companion. And it was kind of a weird amount from that dog you saw at the beginning that originally barked at the kid with autism or Asperger's or whatever he had, and then became his friend later. So that was kind of interesting, but the movie overall wasn't bad. It was an interesting story. Like, I don't know why the one guy needed to have tics, or why they made certain characters the way they were, but it's a movie. It's a Shane Black movie. There's a lot of comparisons you can make to Iron Man 3, but given that Iron Man 3 was also like, there's still a kid with a main focus who's well better at technology than it kind of leads you to believe, and a lot of big explosions. But it was still good. It was still enjoyable. The twist at the end leaves you kind of confused about what the future is going to bring, but I'm pretty sure if a regular guy can take on the Mega Predator or the Big Predator, then I don't think they need this Predator killer weapon, so who knows? It'll be interesting to see what sequel we get, when we get it, who's directing it, and if all of the sexual assault allegations against someone in the cast has any effect on the future box office potential of these movies. I don't know. the movie's done pretty well for itself, so we'll kind of have to see how the rest of that goes. I need to dive into the mythos of seeing all the old Predator movies since the first one, and then all the Alien movies. I've never seen an Aliens movie, so... Well, actually, I did see Alien vs. Predator, but yeah, it's a whole nother story. Also not a bad movie, just not a particularly great movie. But that is that for my little bit about what entertains us. Kind of makes you just want to scream like, are you not entertained? Like when there's things you have to see or things you want to do. And jumping into what I want to talk about this week, this is something I actually saw through someone sharing it on Facebook a few days ago that I had to like kind of do a little research on because I was curious. So apparently there's a tree that legally owns itself. So if you go up to this, I'm going to kind of read this a little bit from Wikipedia, which take it with a grain of salt as you will, but there's this tree that owns itself. It's in Athens, Georgia, and the legend has it, the earliest known telling of the tree story comes from the front page article entitled Deeded to Itself in the Athens Weekly Banner in August 12, 1890. The article explains the tree has been located on the property of Colonel William Henry Jackson. William Jackson was the son of James Jackson, a soldier in the American Revolution, as well as Congressman, U.S. Senator, and Governor of Georgia. And the father of another, James Jackson, a Congressman, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Georgia, and the brother of Jabez Young Jackson, also a congressman. Jackson supposedly cherished childhood memories of the tree and desired to protect it, deeded it to the ownership of itself and its surrounding land. By various accounts, this transaction took place between 1820 and 1832. According to the newspaper article, the deed read, I.W.H. Jackson of the County of Clark of one part, and the oak tree of the County of Clark of the other part, witnesseth that the said W.H. Jackson, for and in exertion of the great affection for which he bears said tree, and his great desire to see it protected, has conveyed, and by these presents to do convey unto the said oak tree entire possession of itself and all the land within 8 feet of it on all sides. It's unclear whether the story of the tree that owns itself began the article or if it's been elements of the local folklore prior to that time. The article's author also writes that in 1890 there were few people still living who knew the story. The story of the tree that owns itself is very widely known, is also presented as fact. However, only one person, the anonymous author of Deeded to Itself, has ever claimed to have seen Jackson's deed to the tree. Most writers acknowledge that the deed is lost or no longer exists. If in fact it ever did, such a deed ever, even if it did exist, would have no legal standing under common law. The person receiving the property in question must have the legal capacity to receive it, and the property must be delivered and accepted by the recipient. William H. Jackson did in fact own the property on the opposite side of Deering Street from the tree, the plot including the present-day 226 Deering Street, but in the early 19th century, simply designated lot number 14. The tree, however, is located on the portion of what had been lot number 15. Jackson and his wife Mildred, along with J.A. Cobb, sold their property to Dr. Malthus Ward in 1832. There's a lot more information. The original tree owns itself is estimated to have started life at some point between the mid-16th century and late 18th centuries. The tree was considered by some to be both the biggest tree in Athens as the most famous tree in the United States. The tree predated the transformation of the area into a residential neighborhood beginning in the mid-19th century. The residence adjacent to the tree, known as Dominy House, was at the corner of Millage Avenue and Wallace Street in 1883. By 1906, erosion has become apparent at the base of the tree. George Arthur Peabody paid to have new soil, a commemorative tablet, and a chain barricade supported by 8 granite posts installed around the tree. Despite these efforts, the tree suffered heavy damage during an ice storm in 1907. Although attempts were made at preservation, Ryder already set in, the tree was permanently weakened. The original oak fell on the evening of October 9th, 1942, following a long period of decline. Its poor condition has been known for years. Within the days of its collapse, a move was underway to replace the fallen tree with a sun grown from one of its acorns. When it counts this, the tree had actually died several years before its collapse, the victim of root rot. The tree was over 100 feet tall and was estimated between 150 and 400 years old when it fell. It's quite a range. It had been reported elsewhere that the tree fell on December 1st, 1942, succumbing not to old age and disease, rather to a violent windstorm that ravaged much of North Georgia that evening, causing widespread damage and killing several people. While it's possible that some portion of the tree had remained standing for several weeks, meeting a dramatic event at the hands of a killer storm, only the earlier dates supported by newspaper accounts is known why the tree was not dated by counting its rings. So when the tree fell, even though it was it was replaced by the son of the tree that owns itself. After the original tree's demise, its small plot sat vacant for 4 years. John Maggle, the son of Young of Athens, Georgia, Junior Ladies Garden Club. So several Athenians had cultivated seedlings from the acorns from the original tree. So they transplanted a tree that they had been growing to that original location. The new tree was officially dedicated in a formal ceremony in 1946. The new tree trimmed back to a mere 3 feet for transplant, thrived in its new location. The tree considered popularly, if not legally, to be the full heir of the original tree. As such, it's sometimes referred to as the son of the tree that owns itself, although it is generally known by the same title as its progenitor. The tree was over 50 feet tall as of 2006. Although the story of the tree itself is more of a legend than history, the tree has become one of the most recognized and well-beloved symbols of Athens, is routinely featured in travel guides on their visitor information, and has even garnered traditional recognition through such publications as Ripley's Believe It or Not, where it had been featured in several occasions. So it's kind of interesting. I thought it was kind of interesting that I've never heard of a tree that owns itself. It's similar to like when you see like the mayor of the small town is a cat or a dog or whatever else it may be. So that's just my little fun bit of news to share with you guys today, even though it's a very old story. And a couple things happened since the last episode involves the Emmy Awards, the Primetime Emmy Awards. I know on my last episode I talked about the Creative Arts Emmys, which involved like John Legend winning. But here's an article about from Variety about the biggest takeaways from the Emmys. So, not even the Emmys could break the TV business's dark mood. Sexual assault and harassment allegations against high-ranking figures, mega acquisition deals that have created massive uncertainty, continued struggles to represent diversity on screens, all combined to create an atmosphere in which celebrating TV proved too difficult a task. But the key takeaways from September 17th's Primetime Emmy Awards did at least provide an accurate reflection of the unsettled industry. So the Big Four in August renewed their deal with the TV Academy to share telecast rights for the Emmys through 2026, ensuring that for the next 8 years, at least one broadcast's biggest programming events will be a 3-hour commercial for shows that are not available on broadcast. Of the 26 Emmys given out that night, Netflix, Amazon, HBO, and FX counted for all but 3. When accepting the award for Variety Sketch Series on behalf of Saturday Night Live, Lorne Michaels, who produced the Emmys telecast, offered a defensive broadcast. Michaels noted that when Saturday Night Live premiered in 1975, there are a lot of articles about how the networks wouldn't be here much longer, but here we are in 2018, we're at the Emmys, and we're on NBC. Michaels' case, however, was undermined by the fact the Emmys had held was one of only 2 won by a broadcast show. The other went to the newly engaged Glenn Weiss, director of ABC's Oscars telecast. Diversity's incomplete grade. As with most award shows in the post-Oscars so white world, diversity and inclusion were touchstones of the Emmys, starting with Kate McKinnon and Kenan Thompson's opening musical number, We Solved It. Black women were well represented on stage, thanks to wins by Thandie Newton and Regina King, and the victory of RuPaul's Drag Race from reality competition series was historic. The first time a reality program took awards for series and host, with RuPaul Charles having won at the Creative Arts Emmys a week earlier, but Killing Eve star Sandra Oh, the first woman of Asian descent nominated for drama actress, lost to Claire Foy of The Crown. And speaking to Variety ahead of the ceremony, John Leguizamo, one of the night's only Latino nominees, supporting actor in a limited series for his role in Waco, offered a scathing appraisal of the industry's inclusion efforts. There's a bit of the culture of apartheid in Hollywood, he said. I feel like Latin people are something like 50% of the population of LA, and we're less than 3% of the faces on camera. When Michaels announced as executive producer for this year's Emmys, the stage was set for a show chock full of Saturday Night Live talent. Front and center would be Weekend Update anchors Colin Jost and Michael Che, set to host. Variety chief TV critics Daniel DiArdino channeled most critical reactions when he wrote that SNL came to seem diminished. With Che and Jost, whose low-key shtick is familiar with from Weekend Update, failing to raise the energy of the room or even to claim the room as their own. A year after late host show, Stephen Colbert swung and missed with big gambits such as bringing former Trump flack Sean Spicer on stage. Che and Jost played things safe, sticking largely to a structure reminiscent of Update, including a much-roundabout recurring bit in which the two hosts interacted with Clueless Emmy experts Maya Rudolph and Fred Armisen. The director, Hamish Hamilton, and a few former tweaks, particularly having the announcer read the nominees' names before the presenters took the stage, kept the show moving. Che and Jost were a drag. Heading into the Emmys, the rise of Netflix was primed to be a dominant narrative. The story played out but didn't follow a script. So drawing more nominations than HBO, the first time in 18 years another network or platform has done that, Netflix tied the premium cabler for the most wins with 23. But Netflix failed once again to land an award for Best Drama or Comedy Series with its Emmy distributed over 11 shows. More surprising than Netflix's diffuse haul was the performance of Amazon's The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which dominated the comedy categories in a way that no drama or limited series did in its field. Maisel won 5 awards Monday night, making it the evening's top winner. The show netted 8 Emmys overall, including 3 Creative Arts Emmys handed out a week earlier, putting it only one behind field leader Game of Thrones, which won the bulk of its awards in the below-the-line categories.
Are you doing a bachelor party?
I am doing a bachelor. So, according to this, while this often seems to be the ultimate excuse to hire a stripper, it used to be called the bachelor dinner and came about during Roman times when men would gather for a feast and to toast their comrade. And they would go kidnap the bride, apparently.
Well, I heard... Well, so when my parents were getting married, they still did the kidnapping thing. Like, my uncle and a couple other guys in the wedding party actually took my mom and took her to a bar before they went to the reception, which I think is really fun. Obviously, sometimes there's not the time to do that because you're so constricted with time, but I think that would be super fun. Right. But your bachelor party does... You've been to bachelor parties before that are mostly kind of like food and fun related, not so much getting trashed in strippers, so that's kind of...
It's sometimes both.
Similar, and sometimes both. Because they get 2, because they're special, I guess.
Right.
You're not special. Just kidding.
Hey, I have it'll be fine. And then, alright, another one. Bridal shower.
You ended that one real quick. You were just like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm done.
Yeah, bridal shower.
Well, I did my bridal shower, so there's that.
Yeah,
so let's see.
So the tradition is said to come from Holland. There's a legend that a bride's father, that a bride's father didn't approve her husband and refused her dowry, so the bride's friends would shower her with gifts so that she would have the necessary dowry and could marry the man of her choice. After that, any woman who didn't have a dowry was given a shower by friends. Whether or not the legend is true, the shower stems from friends and neighbors coming together to help a bride with her dowry, whether it was because her father didn't approve of her groom or because her family was too poor to afford a dowry. So that's definitely very old school. Huh. Dowries have long gone away.
Kind of cool though to think of that their friends were so nice and they just wanted her to get married so badly that they would just buy you gifts.
It's really weird that the man would just say no. It's like, I can't marry you. You don't have a dowry. Okay, bye.
Well, there are some cultures that still do that. I think that they do dowries.
Whenever I think of that, I always think of remember the movie Holes? Well, and book when you had to bring the biggest pig to the father to marry your daughter.
Yeah, I remember that. That was funny.
And then it was this big, heavy guy, and then this, young, good-looking guy, and then it was a young girl. And then the pigs were the same size. She's like, I don't know. And then she wouldn't decide. She got to pick and didn't know. Obnoxious. Okay.
Huh. Gotta love it. Bridal showers are super fun. Except some of the weird games that go along with it. There are some games that I've seen online that are they actually got Andrew to go somewhere, and it was kind of like the Newlywed Game, except it was pre-recorded for Andrew's side, and it was really fun. I like that stuff, where you get to find out things, how well they know the bride and whatever, but I don't like the cheesy stuff. In my opinion, it's cheesy. Yeah, the bridal bingo and the...
What's bridal bingo?
So you have a bingo card and you write down things that the bride may have, and if she gets it while you're opening presents, you
may... is that for when they open? So it's
so it's a present opening.
Do you have spatulas, yeah, or towels or whatever randomness?
Yeah, the other one, there's one out there that's you have to. Everyone gets a ring pop, and if you say the word, there's certain things that you say ring or marry or something like that, and if someone catches you say that word, they take your ring, and whoever has the most rings at the end wins.
Interesting.
So, I don't know. Those are not my style. I feel like mine, compared to, some other people's, may have been more traditional besides the Newlywed Game. But I had a good time.
Yeah, and those are traditions I never knew about, with that whole thing about knots.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the bows.
The bows,
So if
not
you
knots.
broke a bow on your, like, on any of your wedding presents, that's how many children you have. Or that's how many children you're going to have. And Andrew didn't know that at first. So then we started breaking... He accidentally broke a bow.
I didn't... I was being very calculated with opening those, and went very... I opened a lot more bows they thought it was going to trip me up. I think I only had to cut one.
I think there were maybe like one or two that we did just for time's sake.
And they're like, you're not being fun. I was like, I don't want to break all the bows.
Some superstitions come true.
Yeah,
I don't need 8 children or anything like that.
Okay, here's another one. I don't know why this is really considered a tradition, but bridesmaids.
Some people don't have them.
Yeah, we were at a wedding that didn't have any.
Exactly.
So
all you need are witnesses, technically.
And you can even use like your parents. Like you go to a courthouse wedding, all you need is 2 other people there with you, and that's it.
And they can be complete strangers.
Good. You can hire some hobos to come in and sign their names.
Huh. Anyway, I want to hear where this comes from.
All right. So bridesmaids, at least we know them, help the bride prepare for a big day. But once upon a time, their duties were much more serious. A custom once existed where maidens dressed similar to the bride would accompany her as her protector on her way to the groom's village. They would defeat spurned suitors from kidnapping the bride or from stealing her dowry. Also, it was Roman law that several witnesses accompanied the bride and groom so as to confuse the evil spirits trying to get at the couple. That's why in many older photos, the bridesmaids are dressed like the bride. It wasn't tacky to dress like the bride, it was crucial. Interesting.
That makes sense. I mean...
Yeah, I've heard of that tradition before, of being like, they were dressed similar to the bride as to, for the whole ward off evils, like prevent evil spirits from knowing which one was the bride.
I thought that was the flower girl. Like the flower girl is dressed like the bride so that they can take the kid instead of the bride.
Wow.
Oops.
Okay.
Obviously, my history is not in wedding history through the ages is not up to par.
All right. Here's the same thing. Groomsmen. Obviously, Reverend bridesmaids are having groomsmen.
Unless you're really, really cool and hipster and just have bridesmaids. Everyone's a bridesmaid. All ladies.
Oh,
it happens.
It does.
It happens.
I mean, I'm sure there's probably weddings where if you have like a best guy friend or a best girlfriend and they want him to be on your side.
Yeah.
Like, I saw pictures of some weddings that were like that. I mean, it's a different time now. I wouldn't be opposed to it.
No.
Like, I'm sure if I had a really close friend that was a girl, you probably wouldn't care if she stood up on my side or...
Nope.
And I think the only reason you don't have one of your really close guy friends on your side is because he wouldn't do it, because he's very traditional.
He is very traditional.
And it would just say no. It wouldn't be like, was it Man of Honor, Maid of Honor, whatever that movie was.
Man of Honor with Patrick Dempsey.
Yeah, the one where he was like the Maid of Honor, but he was a guy. It was weird. And he wasn't he in love with her? Which made it
and
weird.
then they get married at the end.
I don't remember that
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert for a movie from like 20 years ago. No, probably 10.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not
10 to
that
15.
long.
It was probably mid-2000s.
Okay, anyway, I want to hear this.
Okay, so the most popular myth associated with having groomsmen is from in a more primitive time when men kidnapped their brides. And you talked about that. You said that's something your parents did. When women came into short supply locally, eligible bachelors would have to seek out and capture a bride from a neighboring community. The groomsmen, called bride knights, helped their friend capture his bride. The first ushers and best men were more like a small army, fighting off the bride's angry relatives as the groom rode away with her. Then they stood guard at the ceremony to protect the groom from the bride's angry family. Additionally, as with bridesmaids, having groomsmen present would help confuse evil spirits as the groom's true identity.
I can imagine just your set of groomsmen trying to go into battle.
Huzzah!
It'd be so bad we'd totally lose. You awkward silence.
Sorry, the weird
because he's making a zzz. Probably the sump pump.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
I'm right.
Yeah, it's up with the sump pump.
Anyway, yes, Andrew's a nerd, so his friends are also kind of nerdy, and so imagining them going into battle would be it's like LARPing. That's what I would compare it to. Like
LARPing.
They would maybe be able to survive LARPing. I don't know. If there's some pretty tough guys out there, I have no idea if they would survive.
Yeah, it would be interesting. It's definitely gonna be a weird assortment of people.
Mm-hmm.
The white wedding dress. In your dress, I don't know the exact color, but it's white-ish, right?
Yes, it's sure. Well, I mean, ivory champagne. Even though I said I wasn't gonna get a champagne dress,
champagne-ish.
it does not look like it from the outside. But if you pull the layers back, which I hope you're not gonna do,
Yeah, why would you do
because
that?
I wouldn't want it to ruin anything on it. But yes, it's like
Right.
partially. It's weird. I don't know.
Interesting.
Anyway, let's keep going.
Okay, so there was a time not so long ago when the bride's dress was just the nicest one in her closet, and it wasn't necessarily white.
That would have been so nice.
Queen Victoria's wedding in 1840 set the tone for the next 150 years. Her white wedding dress is the one that started it all. Although brides continued to wear dresses of other colors, Queen Victoria's decision to go with white became the top option for most brides, and has been ever since. Interestingly, before Queen Victoria's wedding and the prevalence of white dresses, blue was the traditional color for bridal gowns. Blue represented purity, as white does for today's bride. There you go. You would have loved to have worn
blue.
You would have loved to have worn
Well, it depends. Do they want, like, would it be navy blue? Would it be sky blue? Like, there's so many different blues.
Who
I
knows?
don't know what would be, like, considered pure in terms of blue.
Yeah, I was think. Well, I don't know. If it's like a sky blue, it's already pretty light anyway. Mm-hmm. The bride wears a veil, and I don't even know if you are wearing a veil. Maybe?
I
Haven't
have
decided.
to order one. Yeah.
Probably. 'Cause I know I've seen some where like the brides have like. I've seen like picture where, like the bride has like a veil, but it's not really covering her face. It's kind of just like in her hair,
Yeah.
or like it's never in front of her face. It's always like put back.
Yeah, I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah. So apparently, according to this, veils can be traced back to Roman times and symbolize the bride's virginity, modesty, and purity. That symbolism has been lost over the years, but the tradition of wearing a veil has continued. Interesting note: in Roman times, the veil covered the bride from head to toe and was later used as a burial shroud.
Perfect.
That's
what I should do.
head to toe.
A burial shroud. Perfect. Because
Well-
I'm going to keep it until I'm 76 years old.
Let's hope you live longer than that, but we'll see.
That's what all my death calculators have said. So
calculators.
because I'm all weird and believe in that kind of crap.
Oh
But
gosh.
oh well.
All
All right,
right.
continue.
All right, another one is bride carries bouquet, and I've been at the flower meeting, at least one of them, so I know you are having a bouquet, and so are all the bridesmaids.
I am probably one of the things that you would think that would be like more of like on the less expensive side could be even more like some of the quotes I got for my flowers were more than like my DJ or my photographer. Like it was ridiculous.
Yes.
But I'm going with a nice guy who's got like a little farm and he's a farm guy and has done pretty cool things. So I'm happy with my choice because I'm not spending an arm and a leg.
Right, and I still like I was asked about these little notches in the ground. I was like, what in the world? So you can tell it's, but isn't it said it's basically how you visualize how big your bouquet should be?
Yeah, so you sit at this table and there's a couple notches in the table because when he asks you, because no one's going to know like, oh, I want a 10-inch round or I want a 12-inch round. Like you don't know it because most people are not in the flower business. So he has you stand up by the table and say, okay, if you look down at your bouquet, like how big? And then you kind of like move your hands to see like how big. And then based on the notches in the table, he can tell how big. So I did mine and he's like, oh, 12 inches. That's about right. And I was like, oh, I would have probably asked for like a 5-inch one and he would have been like, that's way too small. Like an itty bitty little thing. But
3
yeah,
flowers.
that's cool. But what a flower bouquet, you didn't say the history behind it.
That guy was right down to earth. I really liked him. Mm-hmm. So, nope, not just because flowers were pretty. In fact, the history of bouquets came from ancient times when women carried aromatic bunches of garlic, herbs, and spices to ward off evil spirits.
Perfect.
Different herbs meant different things. Sage meant wisdom, for example. Later, flowers replaced herbs and took on meaning all their own. Orange blossoms, for example, mean happiness and fertility. Ivy means fidelity. Lilies mean purity. Didn't know any of that.
No. Although, you could, if you wanted to be a real recycling bride, you could probably put all those things in, like the sage and stuff. You can make yourself a really nice soup. Just put it in there and just have a soup. And make a nice stock. You can just have it for weeks.
This is my bouquet stock.
Yeah, I made this. Then you can have it on your anniversary. You can have like a soup. I don't know.
Soup? I'll have a soup. Okay, old news bar. What?
Old, new, borrowed, and blue.
Yeah, it says news, which is thrown
Well,
back.
news, like if there's multiple new things.
Right. So it's old, new, borrowed, and blue. Which I think at the beginning, but so I don't know if you have anything blue. I have no idea.
I don't think so.
Hasn't been this.
I haven't gotten that far yet.
You have something old.
Even though you have
something old and new, which is your jewelry is kind of old and new.
Yeah. Let's see. What is the countdown? Gotta love these wedding apps. I don't know if I would be able to do it without it.
Do you want to plug the wedding app you're using?
93. No, I don't want them to ask me for money. 93 days until we get married. But yes, so
it's free advertising.
I've got fine.
Isn't like Wedding Wire or something?
I don't know. Whatever.
Liz isn't one that's sure. It's fine.
Meh.
I don't care. Okay, so it's superstition. That's all it is. It dates back to the Victorian era and is said to bring the bride good luck. That something old was meant to tie the bride to her family and her past, while the something new represented her new life as the property of a new family. The item borrowed was supposed to be taken from someone who was already a successfully married wife, so as to pass on a bit of her good fortune to the new bride. The color blue, also mentioned, stood for purity. Oh, there you go.
Well, I know I have the old and new. I don't really know if I have anything borrowed. And blue, I have no clue.
I need to borrow something blue.
There you go.
We're gonna fuck the sodomites in the... I bought a penis. How do you think I felt, you son of a bitch? That happened to me.
So today at lunch, we're sitting there at our table, normal spots. You know how we
Who
sat.
took my spot?
No one really.
Oh.
It's just me, Brandon. We have our spots, and then everybody just finds a place when they get there.
So I'm like the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. I'm that POW chair at all the sporting events in the United States. The chair that's always open.
Sometimes somebody sits there.
Don't fucking ruin what I just said.
Nobody ever
Make
sits
me
there.
feel good about myself for once.
Let's be real here.
Do you deserve it?
Do you deserve this?
Do you deserve self-esteem?
No. I haven't had self-esteem since I was a boy.
So we're sitting there, as usual, like we do every day. And then at the end of the table, a guy sits down. An older gentleman, not wearing any
pants,
any uniform.
Okay.
Of sorts. Maybe he was. I don't know what the shirt said.
So you can't confirm that he was wearing pants?
No.
Okay.
Table was in the way.
All right.
So he just sits down, pulls out something to read. I can't remember what it was. If it was like just a newspaper.
The Joy of Sex by...
Yeah. Kama Sutra, or The Art of War. And he just starts whistling to himself.
Oh, what a horrible person.
It was actually really good. It was really good, like, honestly, like, Grammy nominee whistling.
Okay.
Like, it was strong.
Is this like as good as yodeling Walmart kid quality, or is this better than that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's both.
Yes, also yes.
So it's like it's really strong whistling, but it was also like really beautiful. Like it was very pretty whistling.
That would make it even more aggravating.
I was. And
I
look over. I
would want to burn this guy's house down.
Fucking special.
I would want to burn that guy's house down with his family inside of it.
He starts whistling, and I notice it, and I'm just like, I look over, I'm like, this motherfucker's whistling. Just to himself. Like, does he not see us here? Like,
he's having a good fucking
day.
day.
No, he is in the zone. Like,
sometimes I call that bebopping.
And he's just whistling, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm just like looking around, waiting for like woodland critters to fucking pop up and start listening to him.
Bring him some food.
No, it was pretty. It was really pretty whistling. And then I started looking up at like Brandon, Joe, a couple other people.
You the shit?
I started looking at them, see if they notice. They're not paying attention at all. They're just they're doing their own thing. And then out of nowhere, I see Brandon go. And then shortly after that, Joe goes, "What the fuck? I thought that was the TV." and so we're just like, I'm just like dying laughing, like hiding my face from this guy, but also laughing, so they can see that I'm laughing. And then I look over at Cliff, this big old ginger.
He looks like a giant orangutan.
Yeah, hairless orangutan.
Well, he's very hairy.
Yeah.
So not necessarily hairless.
Like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Topical.
But an orangutan.
Topical
humor.
And I look over at him, and he's going, like, soloing to the fucking
to the whistle.
What an awesome guy. I'm glad somebody made fun of him.
Cliff's a badass dude.
This dude deserves to be punished for daring show his talents in public. I would fucking
How dare you, sir?
Oh, it's like that son of a...
It was honestly the highlight of my day.
That's pathetic.
I love
that. It was really good whistling.
Hand me another beer.
I'm
really
too much
excellent
of a cynic to
whistling.
appreciate human talent. Like, it's like when I see somebody like, you know, in downtown any like painting in public or something like that. And I just want to come up and just like tear that painting to shreds right in front of them. Just like, just stop. Just stop trying to introduce beauty to this world. It's not working.
The world is not worthy.
I don't feel
Tyler,
better.
I want you to know, I'm giving you this beer not because you told me to give you. You commanded it. I'm telling you, I'm giving you this beer because I believe you need a beer.
Okay. You can put it back in the refrigerator if you want, and I can get up and get it.
No.
Okay.
I'm giving it to you.
Hand it to
because
me.
I'm a good person.
That's subjective.
I had a similar experience at Jimmy John's.
I forgot that you worked at Jimmy John's.
I spent 4 years there. This is really like it's now that whenever I go back, you know, I spent 4 years there, so I just judge the shit out of everything about every Jimmy John's I go to now. I can't help it. I'm sure you have the same thing happen when you go to a Penn Station.
Yep.
You're like, what a bunch of fucking amateurs.
Yep. What
Monocles.
a fucking bunch
You
of
call
strokes.
this fresh cut? My God.
I'm the same way with monocles, yeah.
But yeah, this kid, he's probably like 17, you know, still full of happiness. It doesn't look like he's been crushed into a hardcore cynic yet by life. And he's taking my order because there's nobody at the register. He just, you know, he throws the gloves on, you know, he's just feeling great about
He's
himself.
fucking doing it.
And he starts drumming with the knife as he's taking my order, doing a good job, and I'm just sitting there getting more and more upset. It's a problem. Like, I'm just like getting so aggravated by him. I'm just like, I hope that blade snaps and hits right in the eye, buddy. I'm just like, stop showing your talents to the world. Like, there's no beauty.
It's amazing how many times I do that on a weekly basis.
Just judge the shit.
I mean, that's one of my biggest faults as a human being. I am extremely fucking judgmental, and it's always the littlest shit that fucking sets me off. It is the teeniest shit. Like, why is that motherfucker smiling at me?
What's so fucking happening?
How fucking dare you?
That happened. Okay, in the locker room leaving. I take my paint suit off, getting ready to go. Cameron goes to the bathroom. Out of nowhere, some giant bald man. He's just tall. He's not like big. He's just tall. He comes through, looks at me, and goes on and starts talking to somebody. He goes, "Well, he's not here." It's something. I'm like, okay. So I go off to the side, I wait for Cameron. Cameron goes, "Have you ever been so pissed off at someone smiling at you?" And I'm like, that's weird that he said that. And then he starts explaining. He's like, I was taking a piss. I was taking a piss, and this guy fucking comes up and just looks me right in the face and smiles. He has a lisp.
It has a very strong accent.
I was like, I swear to God, that just fucking happened to me.
Bald
guy, he's like, yep.
This past week, I had another wedges creation. I shit on another young mind at the lunch table for the exact same thing that created Cameron. Except this time it was pickled eggs instead of potato wedges.
Ah.
So, long story short, the kid that he's talking about, right after he started working at Subaru, was staring at my food and then asked me for my food before I was finished with it. Oh. And I fucking lit him up.
Oh, yeah, you did.
I fucking lit him up.
Yeah, you did.
And then, after that, I took him under my wing, and now on a weekly basis, I shit down his neck because he doesn't have a father, so it's my job to make him not a piece of shit. but he's still a piece of shit. So I just keep grinding his dick into the dirt
I
more
wish
and
somebody
more.
had done that for me.
But this new kid that we have at the shop where I work asked. So Monday, a guy that I work with gave him a pickled egg because he'd never had a pickled egg before. The next day, this guy cracks open his jar of pickled eggs that he makes at fucking home on his free time, and he's fucking grabbing an egg out of there. He fucking eats it, grabs another egg, doing his thing. And this kid is at the other end of the table, just staring at him, watching him eat those eggs. And I'm eating
Cameron did that.
I'm eating my lunch, and I'm like, my blood is starting to boil. I know what's gonna fucking come next.
The cycle must end.
And he, like, as soon as he opened his mouth, I just fucking snapped. He goes, "Hey, can I have one of your eggs?" And I just fucking lit him up. The same way that I lit Cameron up. Don't fucking ask people for food. Do not beg for food. You're not a fucking dog at the dinner table. I mean, fuck, man. Go to the fucking grocery store, spend $1 on a fucking can of corn. If you're that hungry, find something to eat.
You can also pickle his own eggs.
Yes!
Asshole.
Fuck!
Asshole.
Yeah, what a terrible, terrible person.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic
No,
or
no,
not.
I'm not. I'm just like, I'm getting angry picturing a kid staring at me while I'm eating my pickled eggs
no, seriously,
that I
it
made.
was like this.
Just waiting for the guy to notice and offer him one.
Yes, just waiting for the guy to say, "Do you want one of these eggs?" Like, okay, I get it. Like, he brings the jar of pickled eggs out. Like, "Hey, man, do you mind if I have another one of those eggs? Those were really good. You did a really good job pickling those eggs. It makes me want to have another one." Like, fucking pump the guy's numbers up a little bit to convince him to give you a fucking egg. But no, he fucking stared at him for 5 minutes, barely blinking, like, "I'm gonna get me one of those fucking eggs. I'm gonna fucking get me one of those eggs." Like he fucking walks in the room. "Y'all got any lamps in here?" Like, that's the moth lamp meme.
Oh, I am in love with those memes right now.
"Y'all got any lamps in here?" Travis and Andy were in a meme group, and there's somebody sent one today that was like 7 black dudes with the moth head. And it was like a teeny tiny white girl with the light bulb for the head.
Oh.
And there goes my future political career.
Oh.
Oh, fuck.
I'm uncomfortable.
How do you think she felt?
Full.
Ooh. But yeah, fuck it. Just leave people alone, man. Don't beg for food. This isn't Africa. It's fucking America.
I moved really far away from everyone I know.
I thought you were going to say Africa.
I moved very far away from Africa, and good choice so far. But no, really,
less AIDS.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about Ebola now.
It's Richmond, Indiana, so the amount of AIDS is probably roughly similar to your average African war zone. So I don't know,
but is the amount of child soldiers the same?
Coney 2012.
Oh, God, I shit on that fucking campaign so hard.
There's nothing fucking worse to me. No, there's a lot of things that are worse than other things, but everything's worse than everything else. Like that's the cynicism runs deep. But since Facebook is a large part of my interaction, since I don't know anybody in Richmond, I just have to experience them through like Richmond garage sale pages and stuff, which I joined. I joined just to get mad. I joined them just to fuel my hatred.
Oh shit!
So, like seeing people like there's a page it's called Richmond Speak Out, where people go on there and complain about stuff, and just seeing the kinds of people in their broken English like complaining about nobody donated to my GoFundMe to go on my trip to New Orleans. It's just like I thought that moving away from Lafayette would help me like deal with like the stupidity of people I know, but now it's just stupidity of strangers.
It gets better if you get out of the Midwest.
That's what people tell me, man.
It does. I have been trying to convince my wife to move out of this fucking place for almost 10 years now, and she won't do it. And it's like every year I see more and more dumb fucking people immigrate to this shithole of a state.
The new trend on Facebook is these free pages. They're no longer selling stuff. They ask for you post something, you say you can have this, but I just see people get on there and like, can you deliver it to my house? And it's like, oh, can you paint it or something like that? It's just or they get on there and ask for things like somebody today was asking for a Doppler for an infant. And I'm just like, I'm sure that's hundreds of dollars, right? Am I crazy? I mean, you have kids, you understand. Like, okay, so this community, ravaged by heroin, is now full of people that are constantly asking for the most unreasonable free things in the world. And I'm getting on there. I've been banned from every page because I said the F word.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what'll
boy.
get you banned, but not like...
Lordy, lordy, you sinner.
How dare you say fun?
Oh.
Yeah, very hard to troll them, too. These people, like, they're too dumb to troll.
Don't get.
Yeah, they think it's serious. I got in trouble in Lafayette for advertising my neighbor's dog on a garage sale page. I said, I swear to God, I had a detective. I had to talk to a detective about it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they were going to come pick me up in Indy for it. And Richmond, I do the same exact thing, and everybody just makes offers on the dog. Yeah, it's not funny. Yeah,
That's
nobody's
pathetic.
mad. Yeah, they're just, yeah.
You're blending into the couch so well. You're just a floating head
Yes.
and hands.
Yeah, yep. Good color
You're
choice.
fucking Andros.
Oh.
Hey, okay, yeah, great reference.
Hell yeah. It's only my favorite N64 game.
Yeah, back when video games were good.
Worth a damn. Mm-hmm. No story, but worth a damn.
Star Fox had a beautiful story.
Beautiful?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were fighting a giant monkey.
Yeah. You were fucking avenging the death of your father, who died for the fucking benefit of Corneria.
You're not wrong.
He was the light that held back the darkness, and you had to step in his place.
Did you play the secret submarine level?
Yes.
Sweet.
And you had to fucking.
That's where that is.
Softball question.
You had to defeat your arch nemesis and your rival, fucking Star Wolf.
Pigma.
Star Wolf had. They had the cooler.
Pigma
they
was-
had the cooler crew.
Yeah, Pigma was definitely my real nemesis. Like, my personal nemesis. Fuck that guy.
I wanted to be Star Wolf.
From now on, when I run into somebody especially stupid on the internet and it's just time to really troll them, I'm just going to say to myself, all range mode. It's time for a boss battle.
Yes!
What's wrong with being childish? I like being childish.
Before I go, I just want to tell you were fantastic. Never trust a hug. It's just a way to hide your face.
That's the exciting thing. There's nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
Why are you pointing your screwdrivers like that? They're scientific instruments, not water pistols.
Gallifrey! Yes, this must be where I live.
Was it
Right.
creepy when he kissed him?
Mhm.
Did that bother you guys
Well,
too?
yeah, even the kid thought it was creepy. He looked at him and was like, the fuck?
Yeah, which we'll get into that in a second. So the doctor goes to the Institute of Science and Academia or some shit.
Where this clock is.
Where the beryllium atomic clock is, and he's got to try to figure out how to get this one piece out of it. So
Which I don't think they ever explained.
why he needs it or what it's even going to
If
do.
they did, I missed it.
Me also.
They didn't explain it, and we also need to talk about how he got his memories back because that was completely random. They never explain what the Eye of Harmony is. I mean, that's one of those things like, they just it's only ever talked about before that in the Doctor Who universe. That's never been anything. It's just like a rumor, whispers or whatever. It's supposed to be somewhere on the TARDIS. Somehow the Master just knows where it is and how to open it, and it just
And what it's gonna do.
happens and what it's gonna do.
He's
And
like, it'll totally show us
they
the
don't
doctor.
explain anything. You're just now you can see through the doctor's eyes because he like opens this big hole in the floor. He takes a
looks like
Lee.
an eye.
Kind of looks like the eye of the Technodrome from Turtles.
Yeah, he tells Lee that Lee's got to look into this light. Pull some staff out and look at this light, and it just opens it up. Whatever, and then the doctor just, now I know who I am. Like he's off on some date with this lady, the Grace lady at the time. And just like starts getting all his memories back, It's like, now I remember this and Gallifrey and this, and then she thinks he's crazy because he starts rambling about everything. But it's like
if you were listening to that conversation, you would have too.
right. No, I'm not defending her. I'm just stating this is what happened, and they never explain it. They never explain the whole movie what the Eye of Harmony is, why it does that.
Or how it can exchange the lives between the Doctor and the Master, which is his ultimate goal for this movie anyway.
Right. It doesn't.
He just wants to steal the Doctor's lives.
Yeah. They do not explain what it is for at all.
Now, during the time the Eye of Harmony is open, all of a sudden the Doctor realizes that someone's visualizing what he's seeing through the Eye of Harmony, and all of a sudden every fucking memory he's had comes back, and he ultimately, in 0.2 of a second, knows the Master's ultimate plan and can just
Right, he
perfectly
spews
recite
it out.
Yeah.
But having not seen the Master, although here's continuity error, a huge continuity error I picked up. In that scene, you see the Master flash in the Doctor's eyes. So the Doctor sees what the Master looks like. But then when the Master shows up at Grace's house...
He doesn't recognize him.
Right.
He has no idea who the fuck he is and totally just goes along with it like an idiot. Like, it does not make a damn lick of sense whatsoever.
No, and in Doctor Who, you normally would think, oh, no, he's got it together. He knows. He's just playing it cool, you know. But no, later on, they're in the ambulance... And then,
Surprise.
like, his sunglasses fall off, and you see his reptile eyes or whatever. The dog's like, it's the Master. Like, you just see him. He finally actually realizes it, and then he's just like, "Bleh," and shoots acid out of his mouth onto the Grace lady's arm. And she's, like, burning from acid. And then, like, the next frame, they don't even talk about it. Like, she's just cool. No bandages. No eating a hole through her skin. And what? What is this? And then that's when they drop the half-human line somewhere in there.
I'm only half human, Grace.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Like, yeah, and when did they start, like, having the love interest? Like, all of a sudden, like...
The Doctor becoming extra affectionate towards Grace is so not in the Doctor's character.
No.
I mean, it took him...
That's why I said this is the American version where they were boosting the romance factor to try to get people interested in Doctor Who.
Terrible.
It essentially took him 2 seasons of knowing Rose to get to that level. 1 season
And then we don't even get it.
And then you still don't even really technically get it until season 4. So, I mean...
And even then, it's...
The Doctor's half human there. The Dr. Donna. Just saying that maybe that's what they were trying to build towards.
But
eventually...
they need to really explain that because they didn't. He just straight up regenerated, and now all of a sudden they say half human. And then what? Then we get the mini episode, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, we're getting ready to get into that.
Where he regenerates into...
Well,
I have
get
some
into
problems
it.
there.
Just-
Yeah, but...
Let's get back to this movie, though.
Anyways.
So the Doctor and Grace successfully steal the thing from the beryllium clock. They head back to the TARDIS. In the TARDIS, Grace turns on the Doctor because the Master had spit the poison on her.
And she becomes possessed.
And she becomes possessed with these, like, black demon eyes. And
Yeah.
they trap the Doctor.
And
So now he's a demon and a reptile.
That was the least scary she's looked the entire movie, I'll say.
Right. I thought the same.
That was a really interesting looking lady, okay? She's got some very severe features.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But when she was possessed, she almost looked normal.
Yeah.
Almost normal. So they trap the Doctor in this contraption, and they're going to begin using the Eye of Harmony to extract his remaining regenerations and put them into the Master. Lee's just like, cool, we're doing this, guys. It's fun. Like, I'm excited. She's possessed, bro. Like, Doctor, she's possessed. She's not going to listen to you. I loved that line. Like, well, of course, she's possessed, you know.
God, listening to you talk about this movie makes me hate it even more.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
It's bad. I mean, we warned the listeners.
It's absolutely atrocious.
Abysmal.
For very obvious reasons, I think. But so this attempt is happening, and somehow, some way... the Master has to blind Grace because he forces her to look into the Eye of Harmony to actually
she's
start.
A human.
Because she's the only human, and he killed
Apparently,
Lee.
that's a rule to opening the eye, which is never explained that you need a human or something.
And also, why did the Doctor need to be in that contraption?
To keep his eyes open, so that way the life force could be sucked out of him
So
and transferred into.
They needed that whole metal,
the
like
nails.
Super
BDSM.
S&M
Dude, I'm telling you, this was like a softcore porn with no porn.
Yeah.
The sets, the
Everything.
filming, the lighting, all of it. It was
Cinematography.
like a bad play.
Do you remember earlier in the movie there was like a really fucking awful cut? It just went black screen real quick, and then all of a sudden we're on like the San Francisco Bridge for a tenth of a second.
Yeah,
and it was just like 90s sitcom.
Yeah, it was right after the big dramatic Frankenstein moment where he's like, "Who am I?"
Yeah,
cut,
yeah.
And then it's like the city of San Francisco.
And in other
I'm
news,
watching,
there's a
like,
giant
Golden
beryllium
Girls or
clock.
something.
Boo-doo-doo-doo.
Yeah.
Should we do a Golden Girls podcast? Is that on the docket?
I have too many things in my head.
I know.
Talk about derailing.
Brain's too full of stuff. Anyways, back to this movie and its poorness. Grace, because Lee gets killed by the Master, Grace gets forced to look into the Eye of Harmony to start the process that's the Master taking the regenerative lives of the Doctor. And she's like, I'm blind. And the Doctor's like, don't worry, Grace. Your sight will come back to you shortly. Like, it's all going to be fine. And she blindly finds her way to the control console of the TARDIS.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I need to rant about that.
Please do.
Because they just leave this woman. It's just a woman. She's just a lady. She's like, oh, what do I need to do, Doctor? Like, he's freaking Lassie. You know, like, he doesn't even say anything. Just like, oh, yeah, control room. Oh, so I need to go reroute the power? Oh, control room. Yeah. Oh, so I need to go do this. Like why does she
automatically
know?
fucking knew what she was supposed to do?
No. That's not how it works. It's a freaking TARDIS. It's 1999. This lady does not know what she's doing. Why would she know to even go underneath the console at all? Why would she know what she's doing? There's just wires hanging down. So apparently she's just...
This is harder than surgery.
Cool. It's so hard.
She's like, oh, shit, I've hot-wired one car in my life, and this TARDIS is like a car, apparently.
But...
No.
She was having the conversation as if she understood the theory of what she was having to do, like why she had to do it.
To make this woman seem like she was a match for the Doctor.
It was so stupid.
It was so stupid because it was not thought through. It was not explained. Like, why would this fucking doctor know anything? Like, she didn't even say like, "Oh, I like physics" or something. You know,
no,
like,
all
I
she
used to study
did.
this or something.
I like physics is
I
the
don't know.
episode title. Oh my god, that's hilarious. I like physics.
All she did was kill the seventh Doctor. That's all she did.
Yeah,
Really,
she's a murderer.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna stick this scope in your heart.
Yeah. And then the Doctor's just like, well, she's probably to be trusted, you know? Like, let's make out with her for a little while.
Gallifrey,
Like-
this must be where I live. Like,
bummer of a movie, man.
it's poor. So ultimately,
fever dream. Fever
One
dream.
second
Super
left,
mad.
she rewires the TARDIS to go through a temporal loop
Yeah.
and undo everything, and they're able to save the day.
5
And-
seconds to spare.
And the Doctor brings Grace ultimately back to life because the Master throws her. And
Yeah, that was the best part of the movie when the Master threw her off the fucking
balconies.
off the balcony. He's like, bitch, and throws her right off, and she just crashes. I was like, yeah, all right. Finally, something good happens in this movie.
His dramatic entrance with his outfit was pretty great, too.
His
Oh,
stupid
the
Mortal
Gallifrey.
Kombat meets Doctor
Yeah.
Strange.
Well, it's,
Yeah.
that's actually
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Well, I've got some facts from this movie pulled up that we'll talk about here in a second. But actually, I'm pretty sure that's an original Doctor Who Gallifreyan costume that they used for the movie. It's not like
Lame.
extra lame. Totally. But it was grandiose.
right.
It was totally
Shit.
grandiose.
Grandiose, yes.
So he saves them. Everything's going to go back to normal. He displaces them back in time and says everything's cool now. And Lee, you shouldn't come back in next year in Christmas for some reason. Essentially,
God.
Like he's some sort of
Like he's a
soothsayer.
fucking prophet.
God.
He knows all, you know.
and then he's like, "Grace, don't you want to know?" And she's like, "Now I don't want to know. Like, fuck you. Don't tell me. I don't want to know this shit." So he doesn't tell her. He hops back on the TARDIS, sits
then
back
sits back in
down
his
to
chair.
read his book that started the whole movie. H.G.
Ew, they
Wells,
forced the
Time
full
Machine.
circle. They forced it.
Poorly.
Oh, it was awful.
And
Ooh.
then
Hated
the
it.
record skips again, and he goes, "Oh, not again," which is dumb and
Right.
poor. So before we move on, let's go ahead. Starting with, go ahead.
What did they think was going to happen when they made this movie? What did they think they were going to
I don't
get
know.
out of this?
They wanted to kill Doctor Who, you guys. I think that they wanted to kill it.
That
I
they
think
want- no,
that
I
they
mean, if
pulled
you-
things out of a hat and they said, well.
There's a documentary that's actually on that DVD.
About what?
About making the movie and like why they did it. So we can
well,
watch.
we should have fucking watched that before we did this podcast.
Well, we can report.
Yeah,
on
now
it
I
for
feel
next time.
uninformed
Well,
with my rant. I
well,
need to
no.
feel justified.
But they did try to put love into it, and they wanted to bring the series back because it was on the shelf for so long, and they didn't think anybody else would do it. So they applied for the rights, and BBC said, "Sure, take a shot." I mean,
They were wrong.
You know, at some point we're also going to watch the Peter Cushing Doctor Who and the Daleks movie, right? Dr. Who and the Daleks, and I've never seen that, but I hear it is rotten trash. So.
Great. I can't wait to dedicate
Can't be
more
much
of my
worse.
time and
It's not-
energy
it's not-
to something
it's-
that isn't good.
It's non-canonical. Like it doesn't actually exist in the Whoverse.
Oh, then I don't need to see that. You can watch that on your own.
It's one of those. Yeah, totally.
My time is precious to me these days, guys.
So
Too much
let's
going
go
on.
ahead and round table this real quick. Let's rate it out of 5.
Why do we even need to rate it?
Just because. Why not? We were informing our audience what we personally believe out of 5.
5 being a good movie?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you go first.
0.5. 0.5 is my final answer. Like, the saving grace for this entire thing is one thing. Paul McGann is the doctor.
Yeah.
If they would have channeled a better script, if they would have given him a better opportunity, I think he knocks it out of the fucking park.
Yeah.
And slays as the doctor. And actually, they kind of felt bad and wanted to include him more, so they kind of throw him a bone leading into the 50th, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But who wants to go next on their rating?
Well, out of 5, I'd give this movie a 1.5.
Generous.
Yeah, it was generous. I'm being generous. Yeah, 1.5. Only because there were certain things that I could tolerate about it. You know, there was some light brevity and some humor here and there, which I could appreciate their attempts. I really liked who played the doctor, honestly.
Paul
like, that's
McGann,
the
yeah.
only reason that it even is getting anything from me, because I liked him. Everything else fucking sucked.
I thought the TARDIS set was cool, too.
Yeah, it was very good. This movie was almost a little, like, goth in its, like,
Yeah.
Danzig-ness with the broken mirrors and the bleeding candles everywhere
yeah,
and the wax.
It did have that going on.
Sistina's what?
Okay.
Yeah, it's very
We did
Sistina's.
say that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the only reason that it gets a 1.5 from me.
Sarah?
Okay, I am going to say 1, and that is for 2 reasons. 1, you at 0.5 because Paul McGann, he did okay.
That's what he got.
For what he was given.
Yeah,
It's
he did
not
his-
his fault.
he did
Not
his
his fault.
best.
Yeah,
He
he
did what
did
he
his
could.
best. And the other half of the point is because they made it through the whole movie, shitty as it was, and the doctor didn't have any sonic screwdriver.
It's time for Brews with Dudes. Ah, juicy.
The earliest I've had to go in lately is I went in at 7 one time.
That's not too bad.
No, it's not 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
Not at all.
God.
All right, so let's see what
Good
we got
God.
here. We got Tiffany DeVault joining us. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. Hello to everybody listening to the podcast on Podbean, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're checking it out. Appreciate y'all. Always getting on in here. Joshua Spicer. Hey!
Oh, hey!
My dudes! Always good having Spicer join. This is the second time, I believe.
Yeah.
All right, so
It's been a while.
let's see. We got a couple things here. We've got a lager. That's probably the best to start with.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
I'm down.
This was just dropped off by the Podfather himself. He was at a wedding in Columbus, Ohio, this past weekend, and on the way home, he said, "I got a couple beers that you need to have." I'm like, "Okay."
That's what we like to hear.
I don't think I've ever said no to beers. Maybe in a drunken state.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is-
Well, no, yeah.
That's a typical thing. So what do we got here? This is from Market Garden Brewery. It's called Nano. It's an OG lager. 4.3%. Let's give it a pour.
Yeah. Ooh, it's nice color right off the bat. Nice golden color.
The can has a nice embossing.
Is it embossed?
It is.
Oh, wow. That's neat. That's different.
You don't see that all the time. Beautiful.
An OG lager. What the hell makes a lager OG?
Original gangster, man. It's man code. If you're offered a beer, you accept, says Joshua Spicer. Gabriel Floyd, the Podfather, king of naming shit. The Podfather is pretty good at naming things. I'll give him that. hold the can up to the camera, says Gabe Floyd. I guess we can go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
I like the artwork.
Yes.
The hop cones hanging about.
What brewery is this from?
Market something?
Oh, Market Garden. Okay.
Garden. Yep. All right. Cheers to you and everyone at home.
Huh. It's not bad.
Interesting. Tastes a little hoppy.
A little bit, actually.
Let's see what we got here.
Smells a little hoppy, too.
Saying about themselves, this light pale lager is a throwback to how beer was brewed in America over 100 years ago. Crisp, brilliant, and refreshing with a delicate malt body and a snappy hop finish. Nano keeps you dominating all day. I like how it's got the barcode inside the outline of Ohio.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It was made. That's kind of neat. I like that. It's got the seal, I believe I saw it, the independent craft seal.
Now, what does that mean?
It means that they're like locally owned. They're not like a huge franchise.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm enjoying this out of my 450 North 6-year anniversary tumbler. It's a nice little guy.
It is. It's pretty. And I'm drinking it out of this 3 Floyd Zombie Dust glass.
Austin and I got those at the Pint over in West Lafayette. They were having a 3 Floyd's tap takeover.
Oh.
They forced me to drink a permanent funeral out of it.
Oh.
It was delicious.
It's good every time, but it's hefty.
It was very hefty. 10%.
So tasty, though.
Hits your mouth and it feels good. This was a good start.
Yeah, nice way to work ourselves into the podcast.
Just an easy 4-3
Mhm.
ABV. Alexander Graw, welcome to the fracas. Ashley, good to see you as well.
Hello, hello.
What should we dive into next? We got many options.
We do have a lot of options tonight.
We got the 6th anniversary Nuggets from 450 North, a double dry hopped double IPA, Galaxy Citra, Eldorado Mosaic Moteca, and Mandarina Bavaria hops.
That's a mouthful.
It's a beautiful can. We got a lot of other things too. That's a double. What's this one here? This is a quadruple IPA.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Okay, maybe we don't need that one just yet. Let's do this hazy.
Yeah.
So we've got the Samuel Adams New England IPA, hazy and juicy, 35 IBUs, 6.8 ABV. This was a gift. That's why we called this one Gifts Abound. We got beers from a couple different people tonight. The first one was from the Podfather. The second one is from Mr. Sean Voorhees. He can help you guys out at the Tower Liquors here in Lafayette. That's where he snagged these bad boys. He also brought over a Session Pineapple Ale, I believe.
Ooh.
Sean did. So we're gonna dive into that after we probably after we smash this New England IPA.
Ooh, like a boss, not even rinsing it out.
Ooh. It was a log.
Ooh, look at that head.
It is certainly living up to its name of being hazy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Super hazy.
Chris Poland is complimenting my Sonic Pulse shirt. Excellent notice there.
Definitely stand out.
It's very yellow. It says, "Party like your dad before he had you."
Hey.
Some of us can carry on the lifestyle. Sonic Pulse came and played this past week at the North End Pub.
I heard it was fantastic.
They did a lot of noodling.
I always appreciate that.
They were great. They got a new album coming out called Sonic Pulse versus the Internet.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's excellent. I would recommend the song Jerkophagus.
Come again?
Jerkophagus. It's about falling into an endless pit where you're just forced to masturbate for an eternity. Or something like that. I think that's what
Love
it
it.
is. I'm pretty
Love
sure
it.
that's it.
I'm sold already.
So, all right. Let's see what Samuel Adams has to offer in this
do it.
New England-style IPA game.
Huh.
It's okay. That's all right. What did we say? It's 6.8% ABV.
Yeah. It's definitely hazy. Oh.
Yeah, it's not very bitter.
It's all right.
It's top forward. I'm definitely tasting the floral aspect of the hops instead of the bitter.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
Huh? Gabe, I don't know how you can comment, huh, and have us have any idea what you're referring to. We're moving at 100 miles an hour over here, Mr. Floyd.
The speed of light.
Can't remember every silly thing I say. This is pretty alright. I remember when I first started drinking craft beers, I was really into Samuel Adams Cherry Wheat.
It was a good one. I like it. Oh, it's the Podfather.
That's just Dick.
Or it's his Dick.
That's just
sorry.
Dick. He's
Oof.
absolutely not the Podfather. But welcome
Oops.
anyway, Dick. Oh, Gabe says that's all he said, referring to Zach, I think, when he tasted it. Huh. Maybe it was me. I don't know.
Oh.
It was... Gabe's asking if it was sweet. I would say it did have... Not in like a fruity kind of way, but yeah, it's definitely got a cleaner taste than a bitter taste.
Yeah, I would agree with that, I guess. I don't know. Sweet's probably the best way to describe it.
It's okay. It's all right.
Just all right.
It is. Podcastrophe sending some love there with a little heart. Back at you. So what else is going on, Zach? You got anything you want to talk about?
Nah, I've just been working, man. I've just been slaving, sleeping a little bit.
I did not have to work today. I do work tomorrow, and we are finally brewing the Brews with Dudes coffee stout.
Hell yes.
That should be ready to drink by the end of October. I am super, super stoked.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to convince him to let me get a little barrel and put some of it in there to age it a little bit.
Right. I remember you mentioning that. Sounds like a good idea to me. You're going to do something like, what, a bourbon barrel aged or what have you?
If I could get my hands on some bourbon barrels, that would be sweet. Otherwise, just a wood barrel would be nice. Even just a 6th barrel or something. Cup stout for the win. That's what I'm saying, Mr. Gabe. I believe that we got the coffee grounds from Fuel, downtown Lafayette. So it'll have all sorts of local flavors and talents and names going into it. We'll have it. I want to organize like a special day for it down at Taze, so we can invite people to try it. Otherwise, it will be available at the Doom Room's Halloween Bash on Friday, October 26th at the North End Pub.
Just about a month away.
I'm very, very excited for that. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna deck the whole place out, make it super haunted.
What are some of the names coming?
Let's see. So we've got Thorax. So they're gonna bring down the walls, Viking style. And then we're gonna have Kosif, Tech Death from right here in Lafayette. A couple of the dudes are in there, Brad and Colin.
Oh, I remember.
Then we have Born Under Burden.
Yes.
think most of the Hellions are from Frankfurt. I think the new drummer's from Lafayette, maybe.
Okay.
I don't quite remember. I don't know where old William lives. Who else do we got? Triguna. They're up from Chicago. And then Crusadist. They sound exactly like you think they sound.
Yeah.
Crusadist.
Yeah.
Like
dope.
Yeah. I believe Triguna's more thrash prog kind of stuff.
Okay.
It's gonna be shit that I'm really, really, really gonna dig.
Yeah.
Thogot's coming back. They do like noise and they dress up. The last time I saw them, if I remember correctly, well, they played Halloween, so they dressed up for that. But then at one of the Nate Fests, they wore like robes and stuff while they played. So they've got the very spooky Halloweeny vibe, and they make all sorts of weird noises with synths and little.
I can dig it.
Little middies. They're fun. Carl's the man. Carl's awesome. Who else? I'm forgetting someone. Embracing the Enemy. They're a progressive metal band from up on campus.
Okay. Tight.
They're pretty good. They just put out a new CD, so this will be, I believe, their second show.
Neat.
Yeah, the second show with the new CD out. And they don't play very often. This is the first time they've played with me. A lot of these bands is the first time. Triguna, Crusadist.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Mr. Evan Brown has joined the party. What's Gucci, my brothers?
What up?
We're getting it, man. We're having fun. We haven't quite got to all the last 450 release, but a lot of those are on the docket. Right now we're in the middle of enjoying the New England IPA from Samuel Adams. We have deemed it okay.
Just okay.
Okay. Maybe, I don't know, a 6.
I'd probably give it a solid 4 or 5 out of 10.
Solid bottom end of the spectrum.
I try to be nice here. I don't know. Sam Adams have always been a hit or a miss for me, and this one just doesn't quite hit home.
Hope Charters, welcome.
Hello, hello.
Good to see you. Gabe says, they're in for a treat then. Pop that Doom Room virginity. Yes, I think they're going to have a very good time. I like bringing bands to town for big shows. Like, we book people all the time. So, yeah, you might have a show on a Tuesday that has 10 people there. That just happens. But if you get lucky to get on that Halloween show, you're going to play for tons of really enthusiastic people.
Yeah.
Casey Scott says, yo.
Hey.
I say, yo, to Casey Scott. TJ Fernandez, welcome. Good to see you.